You are watching a Go Big or Go Home production. Left of What's Right by Marlan Padayachee. How do we pay homage to the 1976 brave band of foot soldiers who turned Afrikaner rule upside down 45 years ago, when our heads up on the headlines is on the looting of state coffers? This week, I am casting my net quite wide without losing sight of the heroic deeds of the unsung students and schoolchildren of the Soweto uprising, which brought apartheid's ruthless regime to its knees. On 16 June 1976, all hell broke loose in the southwestern township, Soweto, a Group Areas Act zoned location for black people, when 20,000 school children and students protested against a government decree for schools to educate people in Afrikaans, the hated language of the ruling white Afrikaner elite. The marching, placard-waving, and stone-throwing Young Turks were met with fierce police and military brutality. When the flaming dust settled down on this Johannesburg hotbed of resistance politics, hundreds of learners were killed, scores arrested and detained. Thousands fled to join the outlawed liberation movements. The demonstrators were met with fierce police brutality in the deadly clashes in which 700 were killed and 4,000 injured. The 1976 youth stood up defiantly to the might of the apartheid oligarchy and mapped out a new course to the road to liberation, a new country, new democracy that is today in tatters. Amidst the upheavals, one iconic single-shot black-and-white picture from the camera of Sam Nzima, portraying a terrified student carrying the corpse of Hector Peterson with his sister frantically running next to him, shook the world and became one of the most widely published black-and-white photographs on the front pages of the world press, from Times Magazine to the Guardian newspaper and thousands other print titles, and as stunning TV footages. Today, the class of 1976 and armies of activists are outraged at the ungovernable state of a nation under the ruling elite of the ANC at the Luthuli House. The 45th commemoration of a watershed and momentous fight back in our poignant history will be damp and squib. Screaming headlines in Sunday newspapers read, "When Things Fall Apart" describes a crisis-ridden country's woes of social ills and political upheavals, all exposed by COVID-19 shenanigans. The Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, named after one of Mandela's treason trialists, mobilized picket lines at the capital's diplomatic quarters at the Embassy of the United Arab Emirates to attract attention to the extradition of the Gupta brothers, red alerted as fugitives by Interpol, said to have defrauded SA for 50 billion rand, and the associate Salim Essa, who were holed up at their Dubai mansion since fleeing Johannesburg in 2018. The UAE ambassador says an extradition treaty has been signed with Pretoria. The hugely controversial corruption SARS, the Indian-born Gupta brothers will not be landing in Waterkloof Air Base for visiting heads of state and top diplomats, as the Guptas did when they commandeered a chartered jet airways, packed with Indian wedding guests, with a green light from number one's air traffic controllers. When South Africa's Zuma-era de facto president, in inverted commas, Atul Gupta, are extradited from a safe house in the UAE and their wives from India. The National Prosecuting Authority says paperwork for the extradition is signed and sealed for the Guptas to face charges in the 240 million rand Estina Farm Dairy Community Project fraud in Vrede, Free State. At the colorful pomp and ceremony decked out to visiting French President Emmanuel Macron, host President Ramaphosa paraded his cabinet ministers, including his under-fire health minister Dr. Zweli Lawrence Mkhize, who sidestepped being quizzed by the media about how his close comrades and friends picked up a whopping 150 million rand irregular deal. The president broke protocol when he mentioned his minister's debacle in his budget speech amidst parliamentary howls. Open quotes. "Do the right thing, Kabazela. It's time to resign." Close quotes. However, mounting public and NGO pressure forced Ramaphosa to put Mkhize on special leave amidst the legal infighting and digital vibes that were given lucrative contracts since 2018 under Mkhize's ministerial stints. This close-knit cabal received millions of rands from the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs and Department of Health under Mkhize. These revelations places the minister's wife, medical doctor May Mkhize, at the heart of the corruption charges. Digital Vibes paid an electrical contractor 7,000 rand for repair work to the couple's ZLM trust-owned home in Johannesburg and bankrolled their son Didane for 300,000 rand, which the power couple deny. Others are Consultant-in-Chief Tahera Mather, Fuel Stop employee Radha Hariram, who is also a Ghost Director, Fellow Stanger Women Empowerment Clique Nadira Mitha, Suhaila Metha, and Hasina Kathrada and Makosana Mantetwa, all fingered in an organogram, Hariram has since laid fraud charges at the South African Police Services against Metha and her cronies. I once bumped into our veteran media leader turned Mandela's minister diplomat Charles Nkakula with his wife, Defense and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa Nkakula, in a hotel lobby, and previously on SA Mozambique border. And it is disappointing that the SACP ANC stalwart spouse has been targeted by UDM's Bantu Holomisa with allegations that the military top brass received 5 million rands hot cash and gifts from a SANDF contractor in 2017 and 2019. The minister has denied wrongdoing, but has to answer to the parliament. As President Cyril Ramaphosa said in his recent budget speech, open quotes, corruption is not a victimless crime. It starves the poor of resources. Close quotes. Marlan Padayachee is a former senior political and diplomatic correspondent and seasoned journalist and columnist who heads a media communications political strategy, publicity and research agency, MapMedia GreenGold Consulting Pty Limited, and could be reached via marlan.padayachee@gmail.com. NAUSHAD Khan is a published author, motivational speaker, and entrepreneur who runs an online design, marketing agency, and publishing company, Multi Marketing, and could be reached at multimarketing365@gmail.com.